Are you saying yes? That's our original call. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Tracy, if you could, call the roll call, please.
Chairwoman Wyron Cloud,
Present.
Mr. Andre, Councilor Cuddy,
Here.
Ms. Crawford, here, Mayor Gentile,
Here.
Mr. Lovell, here, Ms. Walter, here, Ms. Hyden, here.
If everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes, if you need a few minutes, we can do that as well. Have any questions, concerns, changes, revisions? Got a motion to accept the minutes a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Keep this record. Is there nothing? Terry,
I was just, Bill was saying.
Dan, and then Bill. Got it. Next on the agenda is project business. Tracy.
Yes, so we have two resolutions on the agenda tonight. The first is for Dill Street Commons. The second is for Mack Studios. Part of the Dill Street folks are gonna be here, but I mean, basically this is the authorizing resolution for the application we've been seeing for the last month. We did the public hearing last week. And so this resolution, if approved, would actually authorize to go ahead and schedule closing. Actually, before that's requested.
Yes, subject to approval by mayor.
All right.
Well, I can hear.
Because it's a result.
It's a result project, sorry. File it down. But you said correctly. We have a routine.
Yes. This is how we vote. So everyone received a copy of the closing resolution in your packet, had an opportunity to review it. I thought the questions and the presentations went well. I enjoyed the dialogue that happened during the public hearing. Anyone else have anything like a part or line? Sorry.
I would just say, we spoke to it at length last month. I submitted a public hearing. I felt very positive discussion, but very good questions asked. I'd like to reiterate my support of the project. Washington Park has proven himself a good partner here in the state of Auburn. Seminary Commons project. I believe we'll have the same track record for Dill Street. I believe the pilot will be very fair. 14 years, the fact that the schedule has contained more impacts since year one than they're looking at right now. The fact that the data close on that property with them they're working on. It's not looking very appropriate for downtown, so I appreciate that as well. I believe that it'll be very accessible. I reached out to Joe or his partner, they always respond. Appreciate that as well. And I know there's a question on creating immediate jobs. Satisfy that question in the sense that there is guidance from the comptroller's office. They all know this is similar with seminary. The thought about the comptroller's office. We were not paying for that. It's probably ultimately go to create jobs. Just that. And I just wanted to reiterate all that because we are voting on it. Watch. Thank you for a lot of discussion.
Well, I thought all the discussion was really helpful and helping us understand the job creation as it relates to. If there are no other questions, comments, concerns, I would entertain a motion to accept this resolution. I apologize. Go ahead here.
For the labor policy. For the labor policy, I did ask that question. They can know that Travis, piece. So does they allow to deviate from our policy? No, they have agreed. They have agreed to use the person. Okay, well, then maybe I can set I get. So I believe they agreed to the intent of the policy. On the application, There's nothing about the application, just like that, so. We can't stand for this. There will be 60 construction jobs. I think they put that in a version originally. The driven some. It's taking out the retail jobs. They also. But they will have construction jobs on the site. See. So would there be a different form than this one? Is this one that they did? This one that, and yeah, I was looking at earlier versions. I do remember seeing them. Oh, sorry. So an earlier version in 20 there. I would love to show you, but I can't share my screen right now because it's stupid. So what we could do is address this and just incorporate the text to be updated. This. Oh, yeah, so it's on that Dill Street comment, that, sorry.
Yeah, it's on page of that, and, if I'm understanding correctly, Tracy, that, this is the project benefits, right in the middle. But I think the confusion was, we were dinged in the past for putting retail jobs in there, and I think we might have communicated that to the,
Yeah.
yeah. So there was confusion as to where the were, but we could address that in just.
So it will be the, utilization report? Yes, they will have that. I did, very much take it here, or attending the detail keeps us out. Anything else?
I'd like to file this only ones.
So we have shared understanding about the local, use of local labor based on appearance and required stuff. We all good? All right, is there anything else?
I do agree, like, a huge. Rather than work and ask them about, so you can.
So, basically, I want you to help me craft a motion. So we are asking for a motion to accept closing resolution of the Dill Street project with the addition of, did you just say that?
Contingent upon the mayor's approval for the retail exception and correcting the construction jobs for.
From the 8 to 20.
Everybody got that? Right, so I would like to have a motion. Thank you, a second. I'll start with Councilor Buddy. Any other discussion? If not, give me a roll call, please. Yes, we do.
Chairwoman Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Counselor Benny,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford. Mayor Antino.
Aye.
Mr. Longo.
Aye.
Yes. Ms. Walter.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm so used to college.
Good, Tracy, that's it. Okay, and then the second piece we have before us is the resolution related to Peter Mack Realty LTD. Tracy, would you like to speak to that first, please?
Yes, so in the packet, you have the resolution and the draft agreement. Have sent this over to Mack Studios to look at as well. I've gotten any comments back from them, but this is the forbearance agreement for the 2025 or the 2024 payment that we had discussed last month. It will allow them to bring that payment up or the payments from the full amounts. I basically just divided by one, so 5,800. And I am anticipating I'm gonna close on building sooner rather than later, but I think this is an insurance policy.
So again, that resolution is in your packet, so you may have an opportunity to look at it. Questions? No, it's amazing.
But they are, they're trying to get close by the end of the month, permanent. They will. They close, they guess. That's how it's written.
So everyone understands what they're asking the judge to do. Good. All right, I entertain a motion on that resolution. Tesla, I see Tesla, Dan, so thank you so much. Roll call.
Yes. Chairwoman Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Counselor Petty,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford, Mayor Antino.
Aye.
Mr. Lovell, Flanagan. Yes. Ms. Walter. Yes.
Next on the agenda is a couple of unfinished business items. Tracy, would you like to talk to us about the UTEP?
Yes. So in the packet is the standing UTEP agreement that we've been looking at for a couple of months now. They make some updates to the housing supplement. That would be as a somewhat separate document. The UTEP start to move forward. Housing supplement. Rob had a suggestion of looking at some of the scoring worksheet for scoring for housing projects. So looking at that, but I think we can work that out as we review that process. That's just gonna take some time, that needs to go out. Into great comments back. So, what we'd like to do today is schedule a point for the UTEP document and start moving that process over. Budgeting route is 25 times and my brain is not retaining what that process is. I believe notices go out to the taxing jurisdictions.
Yes, we have to go out. Give your comments. But.
So they can either send us written comments or they can have regular meetings.
Yeah, mine's yes. Thank you.
Are there any leftover concerns?
What's that?
Rob, what was your suggestion? I'm sorry, after a little bit of the things.
Right, yeah.
My suggestion is to. Rather than have all, okay. For one thing, you take some more time, say, right? So, yeah, like,
No. Yeah.
You know, bullhorn in here. Pass the mic. So again, this document was also presented in the packet, but we all had an opportunity to take a look at it. Had a lot of discussion about this, and our goal today is to entertain a motion to adopt the UTEP process as. Thank you, support. Second. Thank you, Dan. Any further discussion? This is under the roll call, please.
So I think this needs to be a motion to allow to issue the notices.
Yeah, so I think the function is to, move forward. Have. And. Wow.
Bring that under this comfortable for you. Motion. Yes. And Dan, you're comfortable second that states. All right, again, any other discussion? Thank you, Brian. Not. All those in favor?
Aye.
The opposition? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Right, Tracy, so we have a bunch of general updates here.
Yes, some general updates. So. First of all, just, I don't know that we said this in a board meeting, but Stephanie Leon has resigned from board. So we do have an open seat. She was a member of history. So we are hoping to fill another seat. It is, we are, we feel it's important that we're city law president, and for that, for a nomination to move forward. And, you know, member of industry, we can think about what industry means. It doesn't necessarily have to be manufacturing, obviously, settings and utilities. Stephanie can make some recommendations, but I don't think any of them were the residents. So we're at a little bit of a standstill with the said on the board, but you know, we could think about industry in terms of the industry of real estate development, the industry of arts and culture, the industry of, we have some leeway here to think about what that term industry means in the context of our current field. So I'm tossing that out there. Chairman, appreciate your input here.
Yeah, when we were doing the agenda, like Tracy and I was talking about that, and something that's on my mind is that I would like us to really consider identifying a person that's engaged in what we might define as an opportunity for our community. I think that's like very and appropriate with some traditional definers for that. But we are thinking, I'm seeing more now that our UTEP is allowing us to think more strategically about how we would engage in housing initiatives, someone in that industry. I think that there, you know, this whole craft group thing, right? So I want us to be open to thinking, I think we feel out the box for us in relationship to what we typically would be looking for someone in the industry, but I think if we can really begin to position our board to be responsive to industries that are emerging in the community now. So I'd invite you to think about people that are in those spaces. Real estate industry, arts and culture is becoming a place, you know, a formal industry in our community. And to identify some potential candidates from that. We fulfilled the mayor's last request. And so I think I would like it to be someone who is an emerging leader, who understands what's going on in their experience.
Can I ask a practical question? I think it's already been answered in past situations, but I'm imagining, even though there might be a pilot with one of these industries, we could still approach a person that has, who's associated with the business that has a pilot, so that does not exclude their capability of serving on support, am I correct?
It does not. What I would want to avoid is if there's someone in our pipeline that we know is coming.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That, but
But if they, perhaps if they already have a pilot, does that exclude them? It doesn't. So, that would help with the word and, and thinking about it. Okay, thank you.
So Mayor, are there any industries that you have in mind that you'd like to have represented?
I don't think any industry in mind that I've represented, but like what they're saying, like think outside the box, kind of this the traditional style of what we do in this region. Maybe that opens up, candidate pools to people who haven't been involved. So I think that's important. Every position on boards I have, concepts and that's kind of been our approach. David, my diversity on the board. I'm trying to get them, rather than recycling these people.
I would agree with that. And the other thing is that it doesn't necessarily have to be someone out of the C-suite. Most companies now really have a pipeline of high potential leaders. So I think sort of in our book, here for the opportunity for someone that a company or someone in industry is looking at to move into a leadership position. So keep that open as well.
yeah,
Really shots and there's like 25 stuff, everything. You know,
I think this is someone who's like in a business development position, but a really good add, someone who's in a facilities position. And, understands what it means to do construction, maintain construction, and, works with contractors. I can see, marketing person, we had marketing folks in the past. We did have a good amount of people familiar with marketing on the board, but, our marketing committee has not quite picked back up. So yeah, I think you're right. I think doesn't have to be a CEO.
housing really kind of rises to the top for me because it's such a statewide initiative and it's such a regional challenge. So if it's someone who's in that mix, I think it would be really important to have that expertise in the role with us. We have Rob, who can make sure we stay with about like, but I think having that knowledge in the role is really helpful to us and also help us keep our thumb on the pulse of what's going on. So that was my list. And then I think that, just really think about, there's a, like I said, there's a, what I would describe as emerging industries coming up in it. And I think it would be okay to have some, I think we're a great intergenerational board anyway. Not only age wise, but experience and the service. So if we can ask somebody to add that expertise. Right. So Mayor, when that happens, do you need people to forward things to Tracy?
I would say Tracy, myself, and then her,
And Mayor, is there a window of time in which you have to make this appointment?
possible, we're getting seats, so it's impossible.
So if we said, if we could not this up by September, that
I would love that, we could have somebody in attendance.
so if we use that as a time frame, we'll start getting those names to the mayor. And, think about what are the emerging industries?
And then it's not strong.
Thank you.
And that's my question, there's not bylaws that says that, can we, or that's the time to move before the. They do some, when I started, problems with this.
Maybe that's what you see.
This is general digestion.
No, planning board has.
Not that it's a lot, it's like.
Here's one that I, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that, at least have a conversation.
Right.
Beforehand, we had a great conversation about the expectation and what the board does, that anybody to say they're gonna do it, they get here.
Exactly. That's not good work practice anyway. All right, so if we're going to try to bring this thing forward, it'd be the third Wednesday in September. Okay, so get the names of a president of the city and someone in industry on proposing housing is one of our priority areas. I'm open to whatever else we can. And our goal would be to deal with this at our subject. Or is it that, is that, kind of quirky or like so stuck in the time. Yeah, thank you so much.
I just have one quick, regarding what you have mentioned in space, one about an individual with me, with the housing knowledge. I was kind of thinking the same direction. I don't want to say that I have a particular preference, but I absolutely do not want to discuss for the whole city of Auburn in our committee. But I was thinking about who could give us that insight or that knowledge, that piece to, make us come to that conclusion. I think housing is probably one of the top three.
It's the issue that everyone, everywhere I go, there's no place on people. So it's like literally. So, all right, so if we're comfortable with that, do your best. You have to live in a community with a bunch of smart people, so that's fine. Tracy, next.
Yes, so just a quick update that I did receive since our last meeting, a few questions from the, state comptroller about before Paris reporting. So very normal. They, every year, every report, they go through the compare numbers and they ask questions like, why is this different than this? Or why does it seem like this doesn't have any exceptions? And usually the answer is, has an assessment changed, or they're kind of didn't start yet, or whatever. It's usually a really good explanation, and sometimes it's typos. So they sent their formal annual list of questions. I addressed them, I responded and addressed them. There were no changes that needed to be made to the report. They're satisfied with the answers. There's just some weird stuff that in 2024. So nothing bad. It was just know that there was correspondence there and everything saying okay. Also, just today, the mayor ordered me the annual bond allocation adjustment form. So you might recall, I think it was April, I reported that I got the bond allocation notice. Every year, every IPA gets a bond allocation to utilize for projects. So they have projects for tax bonding. And then this time of year, we get form to tell them, are we planning to use our bond allocation? And how much of it have we allocated into another IPA? Have we, are we going to, are we not? We don't have any bond projects in the pipeline, so I completed the form. The chairwoman sign it, but basically what will happen is this year's allocation will go back into the reserve. They'll probably put it towards projects that are in need of more bonding in the state, and then next year we'll get a new allocation. So just know that that mechanism is moving right now, and know that we do have a bond allocation. This year it was almost $563,000. But that mechanism is still being fairly standard here. So just make people aware of that. Questions on that?
Just want to make sure we understand what that means. You need to put up like, yeah.
So under the federal tax rules, there's certain tax benefits, there's something called that. See further allocation on these depending upon 90 days, and others as well. So we hear one for body certain bond and not subject property lines on cap. So they get out here on all these. When it comes to New York City federal government, it's over out all in New York City. So basically, you say you're surrendering a patent state again, for the gas allocating very deep.
Also,
Can you give us an example of when an idea would be like an example of something you might have another authority?
Well, the most recent one is And, certain homes to, definitely the project. Certain,
That's beyond pilots.
yes, and that's, for example, profit. And doing more, if you're wanting to have profit, that's. Airport, airport officers, so. There's other thing, essentially, federal government has a new tax code. They're here, has a lot to do, you're making sure because you're talking about something that the federal government considers that breaking cycles, so to speak. Tax code. So you want to be. Being, or you kill it more. So the idea is that subsidy.
Has this idea ever used its fund?
Tax, we don't. I think that's fine. Tax. So we have not since getting some longer facilities. We did have a conversation back in we almost pursued a bond manufacturer, or have had a conversation with them. One thing to keep in mind about these is that they're lower interest, but they have a little bit of a high fee structure. So there's usually like a threshold at which it makes sense to pay for the bond. In terms of what you're gonna pay up front versus what you're going to save over time. And that is wholly dependent on what the market interest rate is. So when we're in a low interest rate scenario, like we were over the last few years, like that number is probably closer to $10 million. It has to be like a $10 million bond to make it worth it. Right now, it might be closer to 6 or 7, 6 million.
It depends, the transaction costs are going up all the time. So yeah, they're lower interest rate, but they're higher cost up front, so yeah, they're financial analysts that make their money, tell you what the true cost of that is.
Our IDA has not seen a super large number of projects at that cost level. So that's part of why, because we're typically, especially with manufacturers, we're typically working with smaller homegrown manufacturers that are doing, maybe a $5 million project, which is substantial. It just might not always make sense for this tool.
Right. Any other, I just like to make sure, I don't like to assume that we're all on the same page about it. Even when I want, everybody did that? So Tracy's talking to you about what will happen with our bond allocation for this year. And should any project at the center come forward, of course, you can educate us about this all the time. Thank you, Rob.
How long does the application process take? So if you were to apply like today, it still probably wouldn't be until next year, or is it pretty quick?
I don't know, I've never done one
For the application for what?
for the industrial revenue bonds.
Oh, how long does it take? It depends on, usually those are bank held. A bank is gonna buy the bonds directly. You could get it done in two months or so. If they go out to market, they're sold on the market, it takes a bit longer, although it also comes. So it's previous spring, one of those in 2 months somehow. So, yeah,
Okay, so a few months, not like
2 months. Yeah.
Not a year or so.
No.
I don't think
You really have to deal with it longer.
Back at our dollars.
Oh.
Good.
Thank you, Rob and Tracy, that was beneficial to me. So thank you.
All right, Tracy, keep.
One last one. So Ms. Walter brought to my attention after the Dill Street Commons public hearing that you found in your notes your lovely notes that are so helpful to all of us. That there had been a conversation in 2023 about a licensing agreement with the Equal Rights Heritage Center that would involve some sort of payment for use of our logo. Since that was brought to my attention, I did a little bit of emailing and digging. And at this point, so what I found out was that licensing agreement was never actually executed. There was some turmoil directly after that conversation. And at this point, the Equal Rights Heritage Center is no longer interested in utilizing our logo. The intention of that agreement was to allow them to use the lettering of Auburn, New York on some merchandise that they would sell. And they've since come up with other designs and no longer need to use our logo. So that has been followed up on and solved. It would have been great, right? So but it was it was one of the, it was right before one of the CETA staffing transitions that, and just, I suspect, just fell through the cracks. I just wanted to bring everyone into the loop on where things stand with that, and that that's a solved mystery.
Thank you, Kim.
Well, keep bringing those revenue, Karen.
Even as a guest, you must take it copiously.
No, there's someone else we could have.
I think at the time, since this was new, you know, we were excited about the logo, we were excited about the tape group and, you know, Auburn. And, you know, there was momentum, and then obviously, you know, what happened, and at that point, we just kind of keeping things moving along, means the priority. That's business, I don't know. But so, but yeah, I, when it was brought to my attention, I was like, oh, that's great, but, you know, not to say that, I mean, I think it works for us, but I just think like, since even the website is kind of geared more towards the IDA, I think it's just probably good to keep it in our lane, you know, because that's even like, the new design has the industrial development authority underneath the logo instead of our slogan, so I think it's just, I think you're right, and now that we've kind of made the power frame, we'll just keep it for ourselves and, you know, this opportunity back then.
What are we gonna do with that buddy then?
They can pay us 5%.
Yeah, because they're vintage.
Cafe grants, right?
Are moving on, are we okay? We'll move on to we've had no business, so we'll go right to the bills. Tracy and Tessa.
Just in time for that. Turn back.
I was gonna say, shut up really fast.
Wanna go, you go, you wanna go?
Yeah, you can go. So I missed the last meeting, so I assume you guys updated on but I saw that there was some finance that went on. So
We'll see.
oh, to go about the finance committee.
Well, no, to go over the financials. Yes, that's what I mean. Okay, so for bills, I'll do bills first. Bills, we've got two MRP bills. One is from last month. When we like ran out of time, I was like, I'm worried about us, we'll get there, I trust you. So one is from last month, one's for this month. You can see that the July 31st bill, which covered much of July, the end of June, and through the end of July. There was a lot of work going on because of these various conversations with various projects with Dill Street, with Mack Studios, with Smart Pipeline stuff going on. So that's why that bill was higher, is there's just been a lot of actual project work on. So just a note there. The citizen bill is for the public hearing notice for the Dill Street Commons public hearing. And we have to pay that to get the affidavit of publication, so we gotta pay it. And then we briefly talked about this last month, decided to punt it. Cynthia Aikman reached out to me about Ada's website hosting. They got charged for another renewal of our hosting fee, we had transferred the ADA's website. So she reached out to see if we'd be willing to help cover that cost, even though we're no longer being hosted there, so that is not willing to refund it. Even though we had the website there. So they're kind of in a place where they're not gonna pay this $338. Sure, there was some sort of, it's possible there's some sort of miscommunication as we're transferring the website. It's cancel that, but they've just requested that we help with this amount.
I guess it's been canceled now.
Yes, it has been canceled now.
When did they get the invoice?
I think they got it in,
I mean, that's what it's equal.
they got it in April. Oh, it was dated June 5th. And then, yeah, so it billed on June 5th. Actually, reached out to me in July about it.
That's the GoDaddy,
Yeah.
is it 300 and some dollars?
$338.60.
And what are they asking us to do, just pay a bill?
I think they would be happy if we paid any portion of the bill.
Is they seated, that's asking if this request?
Yes.
They're in the process of dissolving or not. Okay.
I think they would be happy with the share, but ultimately. Maybe partially my fault, might not be, I don't know.
I think
It was
we should pay portion. A lot of the times when you think you can cancel something or you're not using it anymore. Like 6 months later, you're like, oh, shoot. Oh,
Yeah, sort of conversation happens, and messaging gets great.
Okay, quick question, so when I look up 8 minutes, it's the team,
yes.
and obviously I'm playing into this discussion in all important.
It's moved the whole way, right from, the old hosting account that was, and in fact, when we moved from, TGW, they used to host the website. Took that from them, and worked with CETA to move it from there to what we thought. That's what our whole. Go down the account, we're actually to the state account. Said. Then when we, the CETA, we no longer affiliated with CETA. It's our, account. Right, so none of this is really our, I mean, you can take credit for the mistake, but they knew that we were leaving there. We never asked them to host our sites to begin with, and also they're paying too much money for that account, all of the things that I don't like it a little bit, and I would do it to cover, if it's your mistake. But I'm sorry with that, it's just
So
like.
when we say a partial payment, I think we should be specific about that. Do you have that amount? Tracy, would you have a question prior to that?
Well, to Dan's point, has anyone, like, did CETA even try and call and say, hey, I never sent this, like, it doesn't do this, therefore.
They have an auto renewal, they will go. Somewhat successful. You know that we're not hosting. Doesn't make much sense. We paid them to. That's the migrating site, so they know if we're responsible for migrating this off of that account. Why are they charging us?
That's all I can ask for that.
No one can.
Yeah, but they're paying for something, they're charging, that we're paying, they're aware it wasn't done.
You say they, you're saying GoDaddy.
GoDaddy is responsible for migration, paid them for the migration. So they knew we weren't gonna use that hosting account before. There's no reason for them to bill for an account for which they knew weren't going to use.
There is a redirected money.
They redirected the name, sir. They know that.
They want to click that. Yeah, I, it has been many times. Well,
So,
not many.
where are we?
That-
So I get all of that. I'm just trying to get a consensus. So the request has come forward to us from CDOT to consider paying a part of or all of this bill, to which we have had to put to people about that, right? Some of this, I don't know if you're sure, that's what I mean. Well, so so the sort of the knee-jerk response was, we'd be willing to pay a portion of it. Dan, or you have recommended that we do some additional research on this?
All I'm saying is I don't tell her, I think that's what I said in the beginning was that she thinks that she has some fault in it, right? But I don't. I recall being part of every aspect of this. I remember from the beginning when we took it from TGW that we never asked them to have any responsibility for that. They just did it the way that they did. That was not what it was. Then when we needed, then we found out after they disappeared, which we see that we wanted to affiliate with them, we had to go through that. But the expenses to migrate it to another account, which we wanted to be. And now that they didn't cancel that,
Yeah.
what?
I was missing that detail.
We never asked them something. I don't think we had.
That's good to know. I did.
Until you.
Oh, great.
I didn't want them to host it, I specifically.
Okay, it's fair enough.
So, with this new information, what some people's heads are to minds about this bill? There's a motion on the floor that we define payment of the $330. Do I have a second just for discussion purposes?
Can I just step back at the bigger picture?
Well, I have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're there, fine. That was my simple.
Yeah.
So, the other thing I do want to discuss is, the bigger picture of it all. Has there been any resolution on the tunnel fee? And, what's it, the penalty? They most necessary practice. I would like to just. So. I would like to just table this, and then I would like, the floor, at some point, I don't answer from. Sorry. Yeah. I just want to kind of wait till. So when you say ghosting, like, they're well, it's fine. I mean,
I said those two.
I'm very pessimistic.
All right, so, and also, I'm not sure that I'm getting the connectivity between the two things. So we have this as bill now, I probably will, when we talk about it. But I want to deal with this issue for now. So we've been approached to either pay this $330 bill, or to pay a part of it. There's a motion on the floor right now that says that we decline making payment on the bill, and it's been seconded. So if I can put, and then we have this other thing coming up with the special that we able stuff. What's saying counties, yeah, a motion on the floor to decline. If I could just, explain. Okay, so, yeah, we're not.
So, my recollection, from the forget fatalities, in the special meeting, is that CETA was going to cease to exist in what was ADA going to do, as a result of that. And, it was determined that we would, go with MRD. And, that was our severance, if you will, from CETA. I looked through, I got the minutes from what Dan's talking about, what Terry's talking about, I just don't, I didn't understand until Dan clarified about, the computer technology component of those different, entities. But, a severance is a severance. And so for me, that's where, I'm coming from. If I would certainly, retract my motion if, tabling the item, either to further review it would, be the wishes of the board.
We have an offer. So.
I guess I'm more about chocolate handoff, I on and off.
She's going my way. So Karen is saying that she's willing to retract her motion so that we could entertain a motion to table this item until we get further clarification around the bill specifically and develop deeper understanding about the connectivity between this payment of this bill and our relation to the county reimbursement. What's the feeling of the board?
Yeah, I would just, like, we'll just focus on
The bill.
the bill itself.
Okay.
And, you know, was there any time frame that they gave us on that, on CETA
Do you wanna?
partial payment?
So the motion as it stands, that we as the aid of order decline payment of this bill.
You said there was no time frame, Tracy?
They didn't necessarily give one, I mean, I know there's got any expiration
Mm-hmm.
of organization itself. But.
But it's already been- It's already been canceled, so this bill is just basically gonna sit there. And one more month, I guess. We can feel free.
So are we just, are we just straight up declining payment of the bill? That's what the motion is.
Is there anybody here who wants to say that? But
Well,
it's best. Anyway,
well, let me call, can I call for the vote, see how it goes?
Yeah. All for the vote?
I don't have to roll call this, right, Tracy? Tessa, are you, asking me a question? You're ready?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, like killing me fast today. Yeah, wait, are you ready to vote? You,
Give me
you,
1 second.
Okay.
1 second. Tracy, where's your guilt coming from in this?
I don't really have guilt in this.
No guilt or responsibility?
I mean, it's possible that I didn't actually say this is done to somebody, but I think they were involved in all the conversation. It
I would say
one other
it's the
thing,
fly.
if I could just add another,
was a chaotic time.
I offer web hosting myself, I host several 30 different websites with different people, it's like, this is the business that I'm in. If the person decides that they're not hosting, they just move their website to somewhere else, you can't keep billing with their thing if they're not using.
got it, I
And
agree.
this is the situation that's happening. If student failed to, you know, to turn off whatever that auto window is, that's not really our fault. Even if we didn't tell them, we're not hosting that, even if we migrated and never said to them, we're not doing this. Their bills are their responsibility. Maintaining their accounts is their responsibility, not our responsibility. Unless there's a thing that we feel like we need to maintain a relationship somewhere. I don't.
There will be nothing to maintain a
Right,
relationship.
okay.
I'm confident this is probably part of the dissolution of their not-for-profit.
Yeah.
Let me put forward that if they default, then, yeah, essentially you left it up, and then they're back to suit. Over $330.
So that's the thing, it's already been paid. GoDaddy doesn't care.
So they're looking to, okay, I got it. Let me just call it.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's been moved and seconded that the aid of board would decline payment of the $330 some bill from GoDaddy. All those in favor? Any opposition? Any abstentions? Yep. Good discussion. All right. I pulled that separately from the other bills, so do I need to go back now and ask for a motion to pay the balance of the bills?
Yes.
So, I would now ask for a motion to pay the balance of the bills that the staff for our consideration. Thank you, Mayor. Can I get a second? Okay, any other discussion about the bills? Good, all those in favor? The opposition, abstentions? All right. Did we say we're going to do a treasurer's report today?
I mean, I can do a really quick one and,
Yeah, okay.
So that's fine. So we did discuss Mack situation, or agreement, which should be followed. So that was part of that finance discussion. I think our next big thing is to go over next finance. We're going over the payments and then, and that was the schedule. And was that something that with the pilot, was that was context? Okay, so we'll probably get deeper into that. Looking at the financial reports, so one of the things that we did kind of know that. But as we also discussed, one project that we fix that is exactly what was in our budget and as a project, I'm sure we know that there. So, with that being said, we'll just now that month and make sure. But that's really something.
Wall Street should close in a year, so that'll be.
I don't know.
Yes, there's
More projects than
any associated with the time tax division.
Just a little. So one thing that brought me back and forth, that was person about the person.
But here's my issue, you just told us. That. Your time spent on that reflected in the bill. Decent. And Karen and I, and all, full disclosure, Karen and I talked on the side about this, he actually brought it up. We should consider it. 100%. We, this is, the reason this is in front of us is because they think us in essence. So your time should not be anything.
Yes, what I can do is I can pull that over the line. I know it's some of the. I still say some people and.
That work.
That makes sense, yeah, and I just think this is, thank you, Mayor, for raising that, because we could find ourselves not, maybe not specifically in this situation. Well, where Tracy is doing something on our behalf as a result of something that's not necessarily activated by us. So I think we should keep track of those hours and bill that back to the person that.
What would be? I just think, like, why don't we just charge on the interest that we've already, but they've already essentially agreed to.
Because I mean, interest everything must be nice.
Oh, I see.
This is in addition
So that's
to-
as well.
It's like an admit for
It is paid for the time.
Right.
That's correct.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So we're comfortable with that.
Yes.
All right.
No, that's what I'm just. Like, will they come back, I guess, be a different discussion, but like, will they come back and say like, so you're gonna bill me for calling you to ask you to want to get paid? Look, it's.
It's,
How does that work?
no, it's normal.
So Karen, let's talk about that. Say yes.
If I really don't want to go with this, and the board updates, the agenda. Let me just do one, yeah, because I think we have one of executive sessions, but I'm still. Okay, so I won't forget you. Is it connected to accepting the bills? No, it's accepting the treasurer's report, I think. So, okay, let me do this, it's good, okay, so if there's no more discussion about, thank you, if there's no more discussion about the treasurer's report, I entertain a motion to accept the report as presented. Karen, second. Terry, also Buddy, all those in favor? Yeah, opposition, abstentions, okay, so. Do we want to do this board update, or should we go into executive session? We're good for, believe it or not.
Well, what I'd like to share, should be done in open session, okay, and executive session.
What was very wrong? It's a little
Jack wants to talk about our fee schedule and how we are charging. We currently charge a 1% admin fee at closing and are never charged anything again, for administration. Some IDAs, if you want to hear about to the recent EDC conference, do charge an annual administrative fee. And so I think that's just a conversation right out here, is that fair?
Yeah.
And an item from the APO from the assembly. Okay, so, all right, so, it's good to go conferences. Yeah, but one of the things is, when the public authority board gave their presentation, one of the things that they, mentioned, that would be required is that disposing of the property should be in form of the their property acquisition or disposition. So, I just wanted to share that, and part of the presentation, a lot of the bullet points, about that, and the other part, like Tracy had said, that where I take it, so they can also choose, so they can also be charging into annual administration fee, because you can trade the pilots and making sure that they can out building them, it's all very intensive. And they didn't really just live 1% in the closing, which doesn't sustain 14-year pilot. So I thought that, I would share that and see. Because we give a responsibility to make sure that we're they are those is they come through. So it's all in it, the two items that I wanted to share.
Thank you. All right, let's go. Much more talk.
Sorry?
I don't think there's too much more talk from this.
Yeah.
No, I thank you for that's great. That's great.
So, just my thought is that with the UTEP update coming, we're gonna have to do a revision to our application, and that's probably also the time to revise our schedule.
Right, yes.
So I think the next few months we can look at both the application and schedule and start aligning with this.
Perfect.
Thank you, Karen.
Somebody chatting or that's?
Oh, that was me. Pat came in, Pat Satari came in from Washington Street Partners. I just let him know that we heard from him.
So are we, thank you, Karen, for that piece of information. Tracy, you're recommending that when we do the UTEP, we update our application, that would be a good time for us to look at how we deal with administrative fees. We'll do some modeling around that, so we can see the different. Okay, great. All right, everybody good with that? Thank you, Karen. Sending Karen to every. Who needs to be nice? You can take Karen.
That's great.
So thank. So glad you have that. Keep going through your notes there. All right, so do we need a motion for the executive session, please?
Yes, we did.
So we got that first and second by Aaron and Dan. We are going into executive session to discuss.
Okay. So, our contract to list the residential properties with Steve Fire had started in July. We need to discuss if we'd like to be listing those properties with Steve. Second.
Any discussion?
Just, for future time threats, will be. Irish, okay, will be as a part of the, rather than don't care for this.
And in terms of the amount of months. He said that.
What's that now?
Well, I just, would we like to list it as recommended price, or would we by the same price?
That's the third market.
I clarify something for myself. Do we need to deal with re-engaging Steve as a separate item? I'm only asking. Like, or are these things together?
They're kind of related.
I just want to make sure that the motion on handleable and us do.
Well, let's go ahead and just extend the contract and that.
Okay, so I'd like, if there's no further discussion about extending Steve contracts, all those in favor? All those in favor, say. Right, okay, now with the other topics. Do I need a motion to do? Let's go with this thing. Okay, great. Are we good? Anybody confused? On the same train? Okay, great. Any additional board updates? I just would like to say something from an agenda perspective. You'll notice that we didn't have a board education tonight, and I think that that's optional for us, and that's sort of trend-based and topic-based. But whenever we have a buildable agenda like this, I will recommend that we not do a separate board education item, because these, of course, generate a lot of conversation, and I'd rather let us have the time to really conduct the business at hand. And then Tracy and I are planning for something that wants to do board education, so we're going to have that opportunity to educate the board about a topic relevant to our purpose when our agenda isn't so packed. I just noticed in our last couple of meetings, we're involving folks in all of stuff. They were great discussions, but I think some of it is that just mentioned by chunky agenda. So we'll keep you posted if there's board education topic you want us to put on the party lot. Please inform Tracy. If there is no other business, any more board updates? Good. If there's no other business to come before us tonight, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. There. No, I'm respecting your face. You almost got that second.
Yes.
I was about to give you something that you didn't.